SLT Fibre and experience the power of fibre technology. Sri Lanka's only super fast internet connection. SLT Fibre. Call 1212 now.
Tonight, minority backing. Eastern minority parties and professionals step in to support SLPP's presidential candidate.
To give that economic stability, we feel Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa is the right person.
From the horse's mouth, Gotabaya promises war on state sector corruption, while Sajid pledges to emulate Bhutan's gross national happiness as the presidential race gathers momentum. Under the radar, adverse weather wreaks havoc as country fixated on polls action. All that and much more coming up on First at 9 this Thursday, the 24th of October, 2019.
Fair and Lovely men ගෑවට පස්සේ marks අඩු වෙලා fairness වැඩි වෙලා.
Marks අඩු කරලා ඔයාගේ fairness standard එක වැඩි කරගන්න. Fair and Lovely men anti-marks cream.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhammika Kanaka. Let's start with your local stories. Professionals from the Eastern Province are gathered at the Vietmag organisation's headquarters in Colombo today to express their confidence in Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna presidential hopeful Gotabaya Rajapaksa's ability to bring about the social and economic development expected by the youth of the northern and eastern provinces. They said that an elam and a federal system are far from the desires of the youth in the region. Let's see what they had to say. A media briefing was held today at the Vietmag organisation's headquarters in Colombo, featuring professionals from the Eastern Province. They expressed confidence in the ability of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna presidential candidate Gotabaya Rajapaksa to resolve the issues of their communities.
What is important to us is social and economic development. For this, we trust Gotabaya Rajapaksa's vision and believe he can deliver on our needs. I run a media school in Jaffna. Before coming here, I distributed papers to my students and asked them to note down what their most pressing needs are for themselves and their communities. These are all youth between the ages of 21 and 27. They wrote down that they want good food, clothing, good jobs, motorcycles and smartphones. If you have any doubts, you can come to the municipal councils and ask them for yourselves and see if anyone says that they want elam or a federal system. They are more concerned about their home situations, hospitals, economy and access to education. I am confident that Gotabaya can deliver all this.
Meanwhile, Tamil Progressive Party General Secretary Arun Thambimuthu held a media briefing in Batticaloa where he revealed that a bloc of 10 Eastern Province political parties pledged to back Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna presidential candidate Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Thambimuthu stated that the party's reasoning for this decision stems from the lack of progress in terms of political, economic and security needs of the Eastern Province under the UNP government.
10 political parties from the Eastern Province has joined together to support Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa as the presidential candidate. We have come to this decision because for the past 5 years, the UNP government has not made any progress, whether in economic terms or a political solution for the Tamil people. The Sri Lankan people needs to realize our economy comes first. We need political stability, we need security stability, we need economic stability. To give that economic stability, we feel Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa is the right person.
A media briefing was also held by Social Democratic Party of Tamil's leader Vardaraja Perumal, who stated that the patience of the Tamil people has run out in expecting a solution to the Tamil political issues from opportunistic international stakeholders. He urged the people of the Eastern Province to put their hopes instead in a homegrown solution under a Gotabaya Rajapaksa presidency.
We have been expecting solutions to our issues from the international community for the past 10 years. It has been long enough now. No one from the international community even comes here anymore. The Tamil people must now realize that they will only do so for their own benefit and not for any benefit to our community. The security of the eastern populace can only be guaranteed by Gotabaya Rajapaksa becoming the president of Sri Lanka.
Meanwhile, United People's Freedom Alliance MP Namal Rajapaksa attended a public event in Eraur today.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa is looking forward to extending the highway from Hambantota all the way to the east and then to the north. This will be the bridge that connects the people of the east, the north and the south. Unlike Sambandhan, we won't tell you to wait till Deepavali for solutions to your issues. The Deepavali where he provides those solutions is yet to come. In fact, Deepavali is almost upon us once again. We will make the eastern province one of the most developed areas in the country. We won't need Rishad, Rauf or the Tamil National Alliance to do this.
Meanwhile, presidential hopeful Gotabaya Rajapaksa himself aired his designs to end corruption at state institutions in Sri Lanka by emulating countries which use modern technology as a tool. His views came as an election campaign rally held in Wattegama today. Whilst on the campaign trail, the former Defence Secretary also gave assurances to minorities.
An election campaign rally of the SLPP presidential candidate Gotabaya Rajapaksa was held in Gampola yesterday.
They spread false rumours among Tamil and Muslim communities. We always worked fairly. 100% of the Muslims cast their votes against Mahinda Rajapaksa during the previous elections. The result, however, led to all businesses being crashed. Muslims now have to live in fear after the Easter attacks. Do not be deceived by such rumours again. We first started urban development from Colombo and reached Galle and Kandy. We started developing even the smallest of cities. There are many areas in Kandy which can be developed just as Colombo is. These can be achieved practically, but that needs commitment, vision and will. We promise to increase the daily wage of estate workers up to 1,000 rupees. But some promise unrealistic and false wages. They also lie to the army, police and the labourers. They are only trying to continue this political journey by deceiving the working class.
Meanwhile, another rally was also held in the area of Wattegama in Pathadumbara under the patronage of the SLPP presidential candidate and opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa.
We will introduce technological resources to put an end to corruption in the state sector. We could also be more productive in providing services to the people. We will not let the plantation sector fall and will ensure the protection of the local plantation sector. We will not allow any substandard products to be imported into Sri Lanka. The UMP presidential candidate provides us with so much humour. They appointed the so-called Minister for Highways to continue work on the Kandy Expressway. He couldn't even finish the job. There is no point in casting your vote for such people.
Now, UPFA parliamentarian Dr. Sarath Amunugame is confident that SLPP presidential hopeful Gotabaya Rajapaksa is the liberal and protective leader the country needs to address issues faced by minority communities. Dr. Amunugame expressed these views at a media briefing held in Colombo today. Also addressing the briefing, UPFA parliamentarian Chandima Weerakodi insisted that the SLPP's Gotabaya Rajapaksa-Mahinda Rajapaksa combination is the right one with a proven track record of achieving national goals.
Under the present constitution, an executive president alone cannot govern this country because the prime minister is very powerful. If you don't have a prime minister president combination that can work together under whatever government, this country is going to be unstable. Gotabaya Rajapaksa Mahinda Rajapaksa combination is a proven combination for success. In 2005, when Mahinda Rajapaksa was elected as the president, people of this country expected eradication of terrorism. These two together found a solution. Whereas the UNP, Sajith Premadasa, every word that he talks is against the policies of Ranil Wickremesinghe. Ranil Wickremesinghe himself, together with his camp, has declared that he is going to be the prime ministerial candidate. Sajith Premadasa doesn't want to say that. So there itself, we see that they are not working together.
Parliamentarians supporting the SLPP presidential candidate were also confident that Gotabaya Rajapaksa is the only candidate capable of providing solutions for the issues of the minority communities.
A lot of us expected that with the change in regime, that there would be national reconciliation and national harmony. With the Easter Sunday attack, communal and ethnic harmony was lost in totality. There was incitement against the Muslim community. National security is paramount for ethnic harmony. Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa has a track record with regard to national security, and once national security is strengthened, national reconciliation, national harmony would be further strengthened. The minorities in this country should think wisely, because it is not a secret that the majority of the majority community is supporting Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa. So the minority community also should be part of this victory.
We think that the best interests of the minority communities in this country will be served by working with a leader who has the support of the majority community. Wherever the minorities have felt secure, that is when the leader of the country had a very liberal view and a protective view of the minorities. And I must say, it was during his time in the post-war period that a lot of very practical measures were taken to help the minorities. Genuine interests of the minorities will be looked after only if there is a strong leader who comes from the south.
Now, in the meantime, opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa does not seem to be impressed with the report compiled by the Parliamentary Select Committee on Easter Sunday attacks. Following an audience with prelates of the Askiri and Malwatha chapters in Kandy today, the opposition leader accused that the final report tabled in Parliament yesterday is biased.
Leader of the opposition Mahinda Rajapaksa was in Kandy this morning and engaged in religious observances at the temple of the Sacred Tooth relic. Subsequently, he called on the chief prelate of the Malwatha chapter, Most Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Siddhartha Sumangala Thera. Following which, the opposition leader called on the chief prelate of the Askiriya chapter, Most Venerable Varakagoda Sri Gnanaratana Thera. The meeting with the chief prelate of the Askiriya chapter was followed by audiences with deputy chief prelates of the Malwatha chapter, Most Venerable Dimbul Kumure Vimala Dhamma Thera and Niyangoda Vijita Siri Thera. Afterwards, the opposition leader called on Most Venerable Vendarube Upali Thera and Anamaduve Dhammadasi Thera, deputy chief prelates of the Askiriya chapter. After calling on prelates of the two chapters, opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa spoke to the media.
There are several people in the committee probing Easter attacks who are accused of being party biased. So it is obvious a report of such a committee would turn out to be biased. Going forward, they will spread fake news. Yesterday, we saw how a youth was assaulted in front of the public. The presidential candidate just watched on. He didn't want to stop it. They introduced gangster politics to their own parties. So these are the people who promise to protect the democracy of the country. It is unacceptable for them to behave in such immature ways.
Now, staying with polls, addressing a public rally in Jayala, New Democratic Front presidential candidate Sajith Premadasa pledged to create an era of financial prosperity and focus on gross national happiness rather than gross national product, as is practiced in the Hermit Kingdom of Bhutan.
The New Democratic Front presidential candidate Sajith Premadasa's first rally for the day was held in Putlam today, where he was joined by Wani District MP Minister Rishad Badiuddin.
This is an election for our future, the future of our children and our own relief. This will be the opportunity for us to practice our religion. To do this, we must work day and night to elect Sajith Premadasa.
Sajith Premadasavai vellamippadakkaga mama me rata palane karannata yanne pirisindu sithivili waliන්.
I will govern this country with pure thoughts and according to the principles of the Buddhist faith, where all creatures can live in peace and harmony. One of my first acts as president will be to visit Aruwakkalu and solve your garbage issues. Sajith Premadasa will personally take on the responsibility of handling this garbage issue.
Later on in the day, the presidential candidate also attended a public rally in Jayala as well.
We must think new as a country. Do we continue on this journey with stops and starts along the way, or do we go on one continuous journey towards prosperity? We must always keep in mind how much cash the people carry in their wallets. Can the people support their families with their earnings? Bhutan has done away with gross national product and replaced it with gross national happiness. No matter what the data shows, we must always be aware of how happy the people are. I will free you from the tax burdens when I am elected. I will sacrifice my life to ensure the financial well-being of the people.
Now, staying with the campaign trail, National People's Power presidential candidate Anurakkumara Dissanayake stated today that he plans to overhaul the country's state sector, ensuring a productive service to the general public. His plans also include remedial measures to solve police promotions, perks and allowances issues as well.
Another campaign rally of presidential candidate of the movement, National People's Power MP Anurakkumara Dissanayake, was worked off in the town of Wellavaya yesterday.
We are going to transform our police service into a respectable one. But are they getting a reasonable salary or an allowance? ASPs should be given a vehicle for their official duties. But did they get them? But Mahinda Rajapaksa was given a car by the government since he is the opposition leader. President Maithripala Sirisena purchased many vehicles recently. Ranil Wickremesinghe bought 2 vehicles amounting to 599.2 million rupees, with just one costing 300 million rupees. What's more, the government also failed to grant the approved allowances for the police department. The government was ready to do so, but then the Rajapaksa camp complained. Our view is that even if it's a grant resulting from the election, let them have it. There are police constables still without promotion after over 20 years of service. There isn't an acceptable promotion criteria. All state services should be reformed. We are going to present a plan which will restructure all state services. After that, however, don't expect to be idle.
With the northeast monsoon becoming active, several parts of the country were battered by heavy rains today, with minor flood situations also reported across the island. Meanwhile, similar weather conditions are being experienced by neighbouring India as well as in Europe, with the latter receiving nearly 3 months' worth of rain according to certain weather reports.
Heavy rains were reported in many areas across the country, with Norochole in Putlam receiving the maximum rainfall of 107.4 millimeters due to the effects of northeast monsoon. As a result, Galle town experienced a minor flood situation while seas turned rough along its coastline, causing damage to several fishing trawlers. Meanwhile, flight UL-192 from Delhi to Colombo was diverted to the Mattala International Airport due to hazardous weather conditions prevailing over the Bandaranaike International Airport. The Department of Meteorology issued a heavy rain advisory for the western, northwestern and northern provinces, as well as in the districts of Galle, Galle and Mathura today. Accordingly, rainy conditions are likely to worsen, with heavy rainfall over 100 millimeters expected in the highlighted regions in the next 24 hours. In the meantime, India's Meteorological Department also sounded an extreme heavy rainfall warning for coastal areas of Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka yesterday. According to the agency, due to 2 low-pressure areas in the Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal, the Indian peninsula is likely to receive a heavy deluge. Meanwhile, in Europe, nearly 3 months' worth of rain fell in some parts of the southeast Spain and southern France early this week, as a strong storm system pummeled the region. Many locations from Peniscola, Spain to Montpellier, France received 50 to 100 millimeters of rain, with the hardest hit locations picking up 150 to 250 millimeters.
We shall return with more news after a very short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe cautions that Sri Lanka will have to make a call on policy within the next few years with regards to the tourism industry. The sector was dealt with a heavy blow by the Easter attacks, which nearly crippled the local tourism industry. With recovery well underway, the PM believes that a policy decision is required on whether to move forward with open-ended tourism or attract a targeted number of tourists into the country. The Premier aired his views while addressing an event in Colombo.
The 54th annual general meeting of the Hotels Association of Sri Lanka was held in Colombo under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe yesterday.
If you look at the programs, plans and policies for next 5 years, the quickest and the largest employment creator is going to be the tourism industry. But we have to decide, is it going to be open-ended, or are we going for a limit of about 5 million to 6 million tourists and upgrade ourselves? That's the major policy decision that we have to debate in the next few years. It's not only you are undertaking promotion, which I have agreed to, but on a certain condition, that you also undertake training and the government can fund it. And also remember, you got to train twice your need, because half will be abroad and other half will return. We planned out a fair number of tourism zones, one in Iranavila, one in Dedua, which is virtually ready to take off. Both those are ready to take off. Akurala, Koggala, Galle town itself, Deniyaya, Rakwana, and a bigger one which is now being under plan on the side of Ohia, on the boundary of Houghton Plains. So these are big ones. Then how do we develop and promote the Mattala airport, so that tourism will have 2 airports? We've been successful in starting off the Jaffna International at Palali, but we have a big problem. That is that we have no hotels. We've got many other areas. We've marked out Mana, Punareen, Vedamarachi, how we develop the eastern coast. Now they want to fly into Batiklo. I've agreed that we expand the Batiklo runway up to about very close to Lepers Island, so that you could take a 70-seater in. So the basic infrastructure, the plans are there. It's your promotion which is your job, it's training which is your job, and I think our job is basically look at policies and programs.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg sought to reassure skeptical US lawmakers that the company's planned digital currency Libra would be a force for good that could reduce cost for electronic payments and help more people participate in the global financial system. Appearing before the US House of Representatives Financial Services Committee, Zuckerberg said Facebook would not back any move by Libra, which comprises a consortium of 21 members, including venture capital firms and non-profits, to launch the cryptocurrency until it had satisfied all US regulatory concerns.
Perhaps you believe that you're above the law, and it appears that you are aggressively increasing the size of your company and are willing to step on or over anyone, including your competitors, women, people of color, your own users, and even our democracy, to get what you want. All of these problems I've outlined, and given the company's size and reach, it should be clear why we have serious concerns about your plans to establish a global digital currency that would challenge the US dollar. In fact, you have opened up a serious discussion about whether Facebook should be broken up.
There are more than 1 billion people around the world who don't have access to a bank account, but could through mobile phones if the right system existed. And that includes more than 14 million people right here in the US. Being shut out of the idea behind Libra is that sending money should be as easy and secure as sending a message. Libra will be a global payment system, fully backed by a reserve of cash and highly liquid assets.
Now taking a look at the markets, shares edged up for a 6th straight session and closed at their highest level in 10 weeks, buoyed by diversified and telecom stocks. The all-share price index rose 0.47% to 5,916.28, the highest close since the 15th of August. Foreign investors were net sellers of riskier assets for the second time in 5 sessions. They sold a net 223.5 million rupees worth of shares, extending the year-to-date net foreign selling to 3.94 billion rupees of equities. Market turnover was 731.3 million rupees, more than this year's daily average of around 665.8 million rupees. Now here's a brief report on today's market performance.
In the stock market, the ASPI closed at a near 7-week high, with turnover mainly stemming from Keels Hotels, Sampath and HMB. Retail activity mainly centered on Macwood Energy, Keels Hotels and Brown Investments. On the crossings board, 9 million shares of Keels Hotels traded at ₹10.50 in 2 trades and 500,000 shares in RCL at ₹69. In the bond market, witnessed a dull sentiment while the yield curve remained almost unchanged with thin volumes.
In the currency market, the rupee ended 0.17% firmer at 181 rupees and 10 to 25 cents per dollar, compared with yesterday's close of 181 rupees and 40 to 50 cents, with the currency 0.82% up so far this year. Now let's take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other major currencies during the day. We take a look at what's happening around the world on the other side of this break. Stay tuned. And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.